By the time that you are done watching this video, you're going to go from someone who knows absolutely nothing about email design to someone who's able to design world-class, high-converting emails like the one you are seeing on the screen right now. So I'll scroll down all the way to the bottom of the email so you can see everything, right? But the first thing I'm going to do is introduce you to the tools that we're going to use, how you can use the tool to design like 3 to 4 times faster. Because like as a beginner, if you try to do an email design like this, it might actually take you hours. So I'm going to show you the tools and tactics I use to be at a level where I can just do this design in like 10 to 15 minutes, right? Obviously, it's going to take me longer because I walk you through it. But yeah, I'm just going to share everything with you. So the tool I use for email design is called figma.com. You can start using it for free too. And essentially, this is the only tool that I would recommend you use for email design. Canva is absolutely terrible. Do not even consider using it for email design. It will make you slower. It will be a headache for you. Everything you do in Canva will be way slower, way more complicated than in Figma, right? So I'll show you how you can use Figma, but if you don't have an account, just get started for free here. I won't walk you through how to create an account, but as soon as you have your account ready, you're going to land on a page that looks like this. So click on new design file and you're going to have a blank file where you can essentially start with your email designs. Now, I'm going to walk you through the interface and where everything is stored. So you're familiar with the tool. Essentially, this is going to be your quick introduction. All right, so let me introduce you to the top banner that you can see right there, because this will be where you will be able to find all of the main elements to build your email design. So the first thing right here is the frame tool. I'm just going to walk you through what we're going to need for email design specifically, because there are a bunch more tools that you're never going to use realistically. And so I'm going to introduce you to the main one. Frame tool, you're going to use it all of the time. And the shortcut for it is going to be the F key on your keyboard. So frame tool, I'm going to show you what it means in a second when we're going to talk about frame versus rectangle, but just remember that for a second. To get the frame tool, just click on F and you'll be able to create frames like so. So yeah, this is the frame tool. Then you're going to have all of your shapes right here, whether it be rectangle by pressing R, the line by pressing L, the arrow, ellipse, polygon, stars, and even like place images. Then you're going to have the pen tool. You can have access to it by clicking on the keyboard shortcut P. And yeah, this is going to be the pen tool where you can that you can use to draw complex shapes and stuff like that. So yeah, this is the pen tool. I'm rapid firing through these because it's going to make more sense as we use them in this video. Then you're going to have the text tool. This one's pretty straightforward. This is how you can just type text inside of Figma. Now, every time that you're going to use one of these tools inside of Figma, you're going to have it appear inside of the left panel. So as you can see in my design file, I have like a bunch of elements and all of them are appearing on the left. Now, if I zoom in on the one I just created right here, if I select it on the design file, it's going to show up on the left, selected and highlighted in blue. And this is where I can edit all of the settings of the element I just picked. So let me do a rectangle, for example. Let's pick this rectangle. Then if I want to edit the color, then I pick the rectangle here, and then I edit maybe the color here. So the fill color, I can change the color to whatever I want. I can add a stroke. Let's say I want to add a red stroke. I select the color, and then let's zoom in so you can see. I'll add a bigger stroke, right? You can put the stroke equal 5, equal 15, equal 30, whatever you want. And yeah, it's going to just add a stroke, pretty straightforward. Now, again, all of the elements that you drag into the design file are going to be here, and you can edit all of the settings right there. So whether it be position on the x-axis, position on the y-axis, the width of the element, the height of the element, if you want to rotate the element, it's going to be here. And if you want to add corner radius, it's going to be here, right? So yeah, this is where you can edit the element. All right, so now let's move on to keyboard shortcuts. Just to make things clear, I use a mouse because it makes my workflow way faster. It will also make yours faster, so do get yourself a mouse if you can and learn these essential keyboard shortcuts because again, yeah, it's just gonna make your life way faster. So I'm gonna pause for a second so you can take a screenshot. But yeah, get yourself a mouse and that's how you move in Figma. Zoom out, zoom in, go left, go right, go up, go down. As you'll probably notice in this tutorial, I barely look at my keyboard. I know these keys by heart because I design all of the time. And as you get more familiar with Figma and as you use your these keys more and more, then you're going to know them by heart too. It's going to be pretty simple. Now that you know how to move inside of Figma, I'm going to show you the first step you need to take to have your email design like created, right? So the first step is going to be creating a blank Canva, and this is always going to be a frame and not rectangle, right? So this is a rectangle. So if I click on it, you can see in the left panel, it is a rectangle. And if I click on the element on its right, it's a frame. They look extremely similar, but they're like completely different. I'm going to talk about the difference later, but for now, just trust me, you need to come up and create like a frame first. This is going to be your blank Canva. And to create a frame, you just go to this tool right here, or you click the F key on your keyboard. And by the way, for the remainder of this tutorial, any key I press on my keyboard, you're going to see it show up in the bottom left corner of my screen, right? You're probably able to see it as I speak. And so to create a frame, again, I'm going to select the F key to press on it and then drag a frame. Now, the way you need to create it, you need to make it 1200 pixel wide. Why 1200 pixel? Because anything lower than that, the email will appear kind of blurry in your subscriber's inbox, and you don't want that. And if you make it too large and you go overboard and you make it like 4000 pixel wide, then the email is just going to take a long time to load inside of your subscriber's inbox. So it's like 1200 pixel wide is a nice middle ground between the email actually looking nice and not taking too long to load where people like get distracted, leave the email without even reading it, right? And so that's what you want to create, an email that is, or like a frame that is 1200 pixel wide as your starting point. Now, as far as the height is going to depend, because if your email is super short, for example, let's say it's just your logo, a headline, a quick piece of text, and then a button, then you won't need like a big height. This is probably going to be enough. But if you add like a product section right after, and then you add another image and then another piece of text, then you need to drag out that height and just make it bigger and bigger. There's no set limit. There's no like height really that you need to respect. Quick caveat though, Gmail sometimes clips your email, so that's actually the only thing I'd be worried about. If you make your email too long, then Gmail is going to clip it. But besides that, nothing really that you need to be worried about. Now, the reason you need to use frame and not rectangles is because frame can nest a bunch of elements inside of them, right? So let's say I create a circle by clicking on O. Again, you can see it bottom left of the screen. Let me select this rectangle, like this circle, and then edit the color so you can see that better. But yeah, let me drag this circle inside of the frame. This will be a live walkthrough. Now, let's say I select the frame. As you can see, the only thing I click on right now is the frame. But inside of the left panel, you can see that as soon as I selected the frame, it also selected the circle that I had created just seconds later. And so if I try to drag the frame somewhere else, the circle moves along with the frame. That's different than if I were to just do the same thing with the rectangle. Let's say I pick the circle, I drag it inside of the rectangle, but this time I select the rectangle. As you can see, it did not select the circle too. And so if I try to drag the rectangle somewhere else, then the rectangle moves, but the circle does not. And so as soon as we add some text to the email, as soon as we add buttons to the email, as soon as we add images, then we really want everything to move nice and together. We don't want to use rectangle spaces. That's why we use a frame. And yeah, this is going to be our blank Canva. So now the next step is going to be getting inspired, knowing where you want to take your email design, right? A lot of you guys asked me about that, and I'm just going to let you know how I personally get inspired. Now, when I first got started in email marketing, what I created is what people call a swipe file. And so this is a brand new email inbox with which I subscribed to like a bunch of email lists. And so this inbox at this day is currently subscribed to thousands and thousands of e-commerce brands, and that inbox gets bombarded with hundreds and hundreds of emails every single day from like big brand, really. And so at first I used to read these emails all the time, just pay attention to them, etc. And it got to a point where at this point I've read thousands and thousands and thousands of emails. I've broken them down, analyzed them, etc. And I created hundreds and hundreds, if not really thousands of emails myself. And so I don't really need to get inspiration every time I try to design an email, but for you specifically, since you're just getting started, or you might be, right? What I've done is, if you go right below this video in the description, there's a link where you can get access to 100 great email design. And so I'll show you what it looks like. This is a document I created for you, and you can just zoom in and have access to like a bunch of email that are just designed like properly. Like these are like just great emails overall. And so you can get inspiration, figure out where you want to take your email design, like what brand does what you're trying to go for, etc. Just get inspiration really. And so get access to this file in the description, and that's where you'll be able to get inspiration. So get that inspiration, and then we're going to move on to part 3, where we are going to prepare all of our assets so we have quick access to them for the design. It's just going to make our process a lot faster. So now let's prepare our file like this, right? This is our goal, and we want to have all of these assets to make our life a lot simpler, right? So we're going to get the brand color, the logo, a couple of images, product images that we're going to need. These icons, we're not gonna grab them from the website or like download them from online, because I want to show you how you can create some of these yourself. And then this image, I'm going to show you how I just picked it up from internet, right? But yeah, all of this we're going to find together, and it's going to make our life simpler. So let's start with colors, or actually, yeah, let's start with logo, because that's the step 1 inside of this checklist. So for this brand in particular, I have like this logo is an SVG, and the way I know that is by clicking on Control Shift and access to the inspect element. So you can also right click and then do the inspect thing, and so you're able to see assets and what all of the things from their website, like the nature of everything, right? And so this is an SVG, and to download SVG, I have an extension called SVG Export. So if you type that into Google Chrome, you'll be able to download it too. But yeah, I like it just because I can copy stuff directly from people's website right into a Figma file. And this is useful for like my client work. I don't really need to go back and forth with client asking them to just give me their logo or whatever. I can just get it from the website, right? So this makes your life simpler. Highly recommend you download that extension. And yeah, it's just a great tool. And so we have their logo right here. Now, a lot of brands, they won't have their logo as an SVG. They will have their logo as an image on their website. And this is because a lot of brands do not custom code their website, or did, right? And so they will have their brand as, like most brands will have their logo like this as an image. And this is a vector. Okay, so actually let me just show you the difference between both. So this is a vector, and if I scale it very big, you can see like it's still extremely sharp. Like there's no pixels, like it's not getting pixelated as I scale it. But let's say I pick the image now and then I scale it. As I scale it, it's going to become very blurry, very pixelated. And that's the difference between images and vectors. Vectors do not lose quality as they get scaled. And so that's why I like vectors, but a lot of brands, again, you'll have their logo as images. But yeah, this is it. We have their logo. Let's move on to colors. So I'll just get rectangles. To duplicate elements, you just click on the element you want duplicated, and then click on Option and then drag if you're on Mac, or Alt and drag if you're on Windows. And so I want to duplicate 2 elements now. I'm just going to select the 2 and then do the same thing, Alt and drag. And so that's how I'll have like 4 squares. So now I need to go ahead and get their brand color. And so what I've done is I've just gone to their website and started looking for color that I could use for the email design process that are on brand for them, right? So I use an extension called Color Picker, download it from Google Chrome, and then you're going to be able to select colors from people's website and then use it for their design. So I'm going to pick up this one. Another one I'm going to pick up is maybe the top one, so something like this. And then I'm just going to use standard black and white. So I've just gone to their Figma file, and then I clicked on here, selected the color that I've just picked up, and then added it here, right? Edited the rectangle, went to the fill settings, and then inputted the colors. So I've done the same with all of the other colors. I might fast forward this. This is all of the colors I've picked up. Now I'm just going to pick these ones again because these are the one I used to create this email. So I just want to replicate this email one-to-one. So I will use the same colors, but you can see like I've used the exact same process to come up with these ones. Maybe I selected another color from their website, but this is actually the process I followed, right? But yeah, I'll get the colors right there just so I can match the other design. So here we go. Okay, so now we need to import the product images, and for that, I'll just go to their website, click on choose your Aura ring, and then we need to find clean pictures of the actual ring. So this one will do. I need to actually copy it, and as you can see, there's only the option to save as, and I don't really want to save this picture. So what I'll do is I'll go to the inspect element. Again, you can just right click on inspect, and then you'll be able to see the code from the page. And so I want to see what this image is. I'll just open this block more in depth, and I'm able to see the image now. Congrats. So I've repeated this process over and over again to get every single color. And so what I'll do is I'll fast forward through that, but essentially I just right click on copy image, and then add that into Figma. And so I'll do that with every single image, and I'll catch you when that's done. Okay, so now we have all of the rings. What I want to do is just crop their background a little bit so they're, because we don't need all of this gray around the images. So what I'll do is I'll center all of them, so now they're all stacked on top of each other's. And what I'll do is I'll make sure they all have like the same size. So just give me a second. Here you go, this one has the same size as the other. This one isn't up to standard yet. And this one is actually larger than the other ones. So let me edit that. Okay. This one needs a little bit of editing still. Perfect. Now all of the rings have the same size, and so whether it's this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, you see they all have like the same, yeah, they all have the same size. And so what I'll do is I'll just download all of them so I can remove the background of the rings, because I don't want this grayish background. I'm gonna change the color. So what I'll do is I'll export them in 1x PNG file, export all 6 layers, and I'm gonna wait a second. So now I'll go to my site to remove the background. I'll pick a free one so you can follow along for free, but what is the best tool is by far Photoshop. I don't use it all of the time, but it's just the best tool. And now let me unzip this file. Give me a second. Unzip. And so right now I'm just going to drop all of the files that I've downloaded from Figma. And so right now, as you can see, it removed all of the background around the ring, but it didn't remove the inside. So there's still like a bit of gray trapped inside of that ring. I'll remove that too. So I click on the magic tool, remove, hit this, and then boom, it removed the inside. So I'll do the same with every other ring. I might fast forward through that. Now we have all of the background removed. I'm just gonna save all images as a zip file so I can get them all in Figma. So these ones I'm gonna delete because I don't really need them. If you look at the email design right here, it's all images with no background, and so I don't really need to import the images with background. So I am going to open my files, go to the download, and I need to unzip the file. So let me just do that really quickly. Here we go. I'm just going to background remover. This is unzipped, and go back to the Figma file. drag the unzipped email images. So these have no background. I'm going to open them in Figma. Just give it a second. All right, there's one that didn't load. So I'm just going to do that same action again. One, two, three, four, five, six. 6 images, same size, all without any background. And I'm going to tidy them up so they look better. And scale them down. I'm going to hit K. Scale that down. All right, this looks good. Maybe a bit more. Here we go. So yeah, we have the logo, which is item number 1. We have the brand colors. We have product images and icons. We're not going to drag any because I want to show you how to do an email design from scratch. And yeah, let's get started with the email design process. We're going to replicate this one email, and I'm going to show you how I do it live with all of the assets that we have at our disposal right there. All right, let's get into it. So the first thing is going to be the logo, and the logo, I have it right here. So actually I'm going to delete that entire section because I did that with you here. So I'm just going to grab the logo as picture because I don't really want to use this file right here, this SVG vector one, because it's like 1,000 times easier to design with a vector file. And a lot of the time, as I said, you will not have a vector file. And the reason I say it's easier is because you can just scale it. That's one thing, but you can also change the image, like change the color of that vector file within like 2 clicks. And a lot of the time people don't know how to change the color of an image because let me give you an example. I'll copy this as a PNG and then I'll paste it here. So this is an image, and as you can see, if I click on the image right here, then the fill option, it's going to be an image, and you can't really easily change the color of it. And so you have to use kind of a little trick, and not many people know about it when they get started. So I'm going to drag a rectangle on top of the logo, and that's how I'll be able to change the color. So I'll select now the image, which is the logo underneath that rectangle, and the rectangle together, and then I'm going to use as mask. And so now what you have the ability to do is change the color of that rectangle, and then the image underneath is just going to adopt the color of the rectangle that is being used as a mask. And so this is very useful to change the color of an image if basically it's not a vector format like this. So that's what you will have to do most of the time if your logo is in an image format and not a vector format. So I'm going to center it, drag it on top of the screen. So just make sure it's centered. And then for the color of the logo, instead of bright green, I'm just going to make sure it's this color. So to change the color, you either click on the color right here and then pick the eyedropper tool if you want to select this color, and then just click on the color you want to add. Now for the color of the frame, you can tell it's not completely white. So this is just FFFF, meaning white. And this is not really the exact same color. So what I'll do is I'll pick this frame color and I'll just copy the color that I have right here, because I'm pretty sure this is white and this is a color I picked up from their website that I did not pick up in our live walkthrough. So I just made sure I grabbed it from here. And so this section, this header banner, will get started and copy it. So the text is just the text tool. So I clicked on T. If you didn't see my keystrokes, this is the T tool. And so I'll type the text. So here, this will be new. I'll zoom in for a second. The Ring 4.0 is out now. This is it. And so I'll center that. Again, you saw I just used the keyboard shortcut because again, I'm used to it. But you as a beginner, you might want to use this center tool right here. And so check the color. It is white. And so I'll change the fill color. I'll put it as white. And then I just need to make sure I add this rectangle as a background. Now I could use the rectangle tool, drag it as a background, make it so that the layer is like right under, rectangle layer is right underneath the text, so that the text shows up on front, and then center it like this, but I won't. And the reason why that is because I'll use an auto layout, which is an advanced feature, and I'll show you why I use the auto layout. So first off, to do the auto layout feature, you just have to select the text and then click on Shift and A. And then after that, your text is just going to fit in the middle of a frame. And so it's going to adjust no matter the size of the frame, no matter the width of the frame, your text is going to be at the center of it. And so for this section, for example, this is an auto layout. If I want to resize this section, the text is always going to appear in a static way. And if I were to do that, so if I didn't use an auto layout and I just used a rectangle, I would have to basically constantly change the alignment of the text versus relative to the rectangles. For example, I'd adjust the rectangle and then I'd have to grab the text, put it here. Like it'd be like a mess, especially if I want to test like different variant, like the text being on the left, text being on the right. I'd have to do a bunch of settings, trickery, but with the auto layout, I can just play around, put it in different variation, make sure, like, for example, I do this, like it's super easy to organize stuff with auto layout. And so that's why I'm using that feature. And again, to do that, you just click on the text and then hit Shift A, and then you are going to have an auto layout around your text. Now, the fill color, right now there's not any. So I'll add a fill color, and instead of making it white, I'm going to use this color right here. And so here you go. You have an auto layout, you have a brown color, and I'm just going to center it to the top. So I'll click on it, hit Option and then W, or click on this button right here. And here you go. It looks pretty similar. Now, you can always adjust the settings, tweak them a little bit. And then I think I added a white stroke. So a stroke, make it white, you know, just to have that tiny effect. Again, that's without the stroke, that's with the stroke, without, with. And yeah, it's pretty cool, I feel like. So yeah, I just used that. Now you can always make it smaller, bigger, whatever your, however you prefer it. But yeah, this is it for the top section. Now for the headline, I just pulled out some text. So text tool, clicked on T, and then the headline was sleeker, smarter. Now if this sounds like AI, it's because that is. Didn't write that copy myself for you. Sleeker, smarter, and made for you. Yeah, I just needed some copy for the tutorial, so just used AI really quickly to pull that tutorial for you. So now I'm going to make the headline bigger. So again, to make that bigger, you have my keys in the left corner, but I use K to pull the scale tool right here, scale, and then I scale the text. Now I just need to match the font. So the font right here, at least the first one, is this one, Accurate, AKKURAT. And so I'll make sure it's the same. It's Accurate Regular. This one's Accurate Bold, so I'll make sure it's Accurate Regular. Increase the size of it. And then the next one is a different font, PP Editorial New, made for you. Okay. PP Editorial New, and then it's like ultra light italic. You can see now it's starting to look similar. I'm going to use the scale tool again to make sure it's slightly bigger, and then I'm going to adjust the size between the two lines, between line number 1 and line number 2. I'm just going to shrink that so they get closer together. Here, yeah, that should do. I think that looks good. And so this color, as you can see, it is a mix of two different colors. The text is darker right there, and then lighter toward this portion of the text. So I'm going to try and go for the same gradient. It's not going to look exactly similar, but it's going to look relatively close. So to adjust the color of the text, again, you click on here, but instead of a solid color, so right now it's just pure black, I'm going to use a linear gradient. So linear, I'm just going to make it like this. And then instead of gray in the bottom right corner, I'm just going to pick this eyedropper tool. I click on eye, and then I'm going to select this color. I'm going to make that slightly brighter, and I think that should achieve an effect that is similar to this. Now it's just a matter of tweaking to get close and to make sure it's like about the same, but then it's just a matter of preference. I'm not going to go for a replica one-to-one. Just make sure you're happy with it, and then you're good. Now this piece of text is just literally the same principle as building this one. So I clicked on T, and then you can write some sample copy. I'm just going to copy and paste the copy from right there. Now, as you can see, the text is like way too big for the frame, and so I'm going to resize it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure it's a center line, so like this format right here. And then I'm going to click on Option or Alt if you're on Windows, and then drag the border of the text. That will make sure that basically as I drag the right border, the left border basically does the same action. The text stays in the center. Whereas if I didn't use Option or Alt, and I were to drag this border, then the other one wouldn't do the same. The text would get off-centered. So yeah, that's pretty small detail, but it counts. So now I'm going to scale the text because I want it to look slightly bigger. This is good. And then I'm going to apply the same color that we used above to the text below. Fill. Yeah, you can copy and paste colors. Again, yet another thing that you can't do is Canva. Don't use Canva. Use Figma. It's 1,000 times better. So just trying to make it so the text is readable, that it looks good, and we should be good now. Now, this part right here, we're going to use an auto layout. Why? Because if you want to switch the color of the items, it's going to be pretty simple. It's pretty good. Everything stays nice and in a pretty good format. I like using auto layout specifically for that. And so I'm going to get all of our images. I'm going to create a duplicate. So again, these are like advanced keyboard shortcuts. I can't remember if we talked about them, but basically we're using this one, Alt plus drag, to duplicate an element. And so I'm not duplicating one element. I'm selecting like 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then Alt drag. And so I have 6 element in my frame. And so now I'm creating an auto layout. So Shift A to create the auto layout. And I make sure it's like this one. So if I resize the frame, the ring fit the size of the frame. And so what I want to do is like 4 on top, 2 below, and I'm going to make sure it's like tighter. So like this. Okay, actually, before we do that, we're going to make it so all of the, because like each and every single image, it has like a lot of empty space. We want to make it so each image is like very tight around the ring, so we have like the freedom to resize it however we want inside of the auto layout. So this is what we're going to do. Let me pick all of the images, stack them on top of each other, and make sure there's no space like this. Here we go. And then I'm going to do the same. Again, I selected this image previously, now I'm selecting the one right underneath. And so if I make it like move, you're going to see it's this one, but you might get confused and be like, oh, Christoph, are you not selecting the gold one right now? I'm not. It's the one right underneath. Don't get mistaken. So this is the one I'm going for. And I'm just trying to make sure that they roughly have the same size, right? So I might like fast forward this, but just trying to make sure everything is like homogeneous. All right, so now all images have the same size, and we're going to drag all of them inside of the auto layout. So you're going to see, we dragged a bunch of them, and so now we need to delete the other ones and adjust the auto layout settings. So right now there's -94 pixels between each image. I just want to add some more space, right? And then vertical space. I'm going to make it like this, and then center the auto layout in a different way. So this looks decent. The colors are just not like the way the colors are positioned is not the best. This looks slightly better. I would maybe do this, like this. Yeah, it depends. How did I do it here? Yeah, pretty similar. I like the black, kind of black, gray, and then colorful here, or colorful in another way. But yeah, anyway, doesn't really matter that much, but I feel like for the aesthetic, it's pretty good. So now for this button, can't remember which font I use. I think it's, yeah, Accurate. So I'm gonna use that one again. I think the text right here is that same font, so that's what I'm going to use. I'm gonna copy this text so I don't have to type it again, and I'm going to paste it here. So now I'm going to scale the text down, like this should be good, and then I'm going to make the text white because it's white right there. This is the opacity of the color, so if I put it to 50, or like, yeah, you're gonna see underneath the text, as you can see right there. But yeah, full opacity, and then I'm going to make the thing white. So now I'm going to use another layout for the button again, and I'm going to make the auto layout like this, so I can use this color. And right now, I'm kind of picking the colors from the other email, but what I would usually do is pick the colors from these like color swatches, really. And yeah, right now I'm just gonna keep on doing grabbing the colors from the other email, because yeah, I want to replicate the email, so that's the best way to do it. But because it was a live walkthrough, I just wanted to show you how I usually grab the colors. So yeah, as you can see, we have a button that looks similar. Maybe I'm going to shrink it a little bit so it looks more aesthetic. But yeah, this is good. Now for the image there, you will notice the saturation is higher, like the colors look more vivid. And the way I did that is I basically went on every single image and then bumped up the saturation. You can see no color, a lot of colors. And so yeah, this is just me increasing the saturation, and I did that for all pictures, and I can go through each one individually and do it. Just give me a second. All right, yeah, I feel like this looks better and way closer to the variant we have right there. Maybe I should scale it. Looks pretty close actually. So yeah, and now for this right here, you can replicate it in Figma like manually, but this one, like, dude, it's a Trustpilot one. Just grab it from the internet. It's like completely free to do so. So Trustpilot, as you can see, I already typed it. I type it all the time because I just don't have the resource saved. I typically just Google it, and it's pretty accessible. In a couple clicks, you'll be able to download that thing. And so yeah, SVG format. Remember, like SVG is the vector format that is pretty easy to edit. So you can download it in PNG, but then you'll have to do a bunch of edits. When you'll scale the picture, it will be blurry, like super pixelated. You don't want that. You want the SVG format. So let me go back to the Figma file and then drop the Trustpilot SVG. And then I'm gonna delete whatever I don't need. So this I don't need, this I don't need too. And I'm just going to grab what I need, delete the original frame. I'm going to scale it 2x, so I just hit K, and then right here, check out this number. I'm going to press 2, and then I click on enter. Do that same thing again because I want to scale it just a bit more, 1.5, and then right here, this looks good. Now for the font right here, I would use a different one because I think this one is not like super readable, especially when it's that small. If it's like a big piece of text, then I feel like it's okay. I can read it pretty easily. But if it's small, a lot of older people will have some trouble reading that small piece of text. So I would change the font usually, but for the sake of this email design tutorial, I kind of won't. So this is just, yeah, a piece of text. So just grab it from here, duplicate it with Alt and drag, and then write your text. Rated excellent. 4.7 out of 5. Perfect. And then accurate. No, that wasn't the font. PP editorial new. That's the one. Drag it there. Change the color. Boom. You got a nice Trustpilot section. Now for the colors, they don't match the vibe of the email. So what I'll do is I'll pick the green from Trustpilot and then change that to this. And then the gray, I'll do this same color, but I will lower the opacity so it looks like this, right? It's the same color, but this time it's a bit more transparent. And so it lets the color from below shine through a little bit. And so I might actually lower the opacity even more, right? This is perfect. This looks good. Going to scale it down just slightly. And I like it. Auto layout, so everything stays nice and in place. And auto layout allows you to do manipulations like this, right? Like if you were trying to test what's the best way to like organize your stuff, sometimes you're going to do this, and maybe you're going to be like, okay, maybe I want to try a version like this. Like what's the best? It allows you to do quick manipulation. Now, I was quite happy with this one, so I'm going to stick with it. And yeah, let's move on to the other bit, this one. Now, this is, I feel like you could get scared like watching that, but it's pretty simple. So this is just text. So 6:00 a.m. I forgot what font it was. So let me check that. Accurate, regular. And by the way, this is like a solid lesson in design. Like, don't use too many fonts all the time. You can see so far we only used 2, and I don't think I've used more in the rest of the email. So yeah, don't use too many fonts. Just stick with a couple, 3 fonts max. And so this is 6 a.m. and this is the pen tool. So to get that tool in use, just click on P and then click once, click another time, and then you have a straight line. I don't really use the line tool. I know they got a line tool. I just never use it. Pen tool is just better. Superior tool. So auto layout now, and I'm going to just duplicate that section over and over again. So 6 a.m. So this will be text section, and then a line, and then it'll be like a line text, line text, line text, line, and like that over and over again. And so I'll do this, duplicate, Control D, Control D, Control D, and then I'll have like a bunch of variant. Now, because this is an auto layout, we can reorganize stuff very easily. And so I'll do this, this, this. This basically shows you the order of the elements. 6 a.m., then a vector, 6 a.m., then a vector. And yeah, so right now I'll do 8 a.m. I don't really care about the logic. Like, it's not really in 2-hour increments there, like right here. Actually, kind of is. Okay, no, it's not. But yeah, I don't really care about the logic. I just want to show you how to design some email real quickly. So 1 p.m. Don't really care about the uneven time delay between every single hour. I'll increase the size of the frame of the auto layout, and then what I'll do is I'll make sure it spans the entire width of the frame, like the bigger frame that I highlighted right there, this one. And so we have an auto layout. Now we need to change the color of the auto layout. Now for the color, I'll just match it with this one. That's the original color. And then what I'll do is I'll add a stroke, because you can see like there's a stroke right there. And so I think an inside stroke is the one I should go for. So stroke, I'm going to pick this color. And then for the color of this, let me just grab the color of the text. So I'll select the text. Actually, let me lock that real quickly. Okay, so it's just some random gray. So let me select all of the text elements. So to select multiple element in one go, from this one to this one, I'll pick this one first, and then click on Shift, and then click on this other one, and it's going to select everything in between. So now I'm just going to pick like random gray. I mean, this is like good. And yeah, this time I'm going to increase the space between all elements in the auto layout, and this is going to look like better. All right, this looks good. And so now to get this like gradient on top of it, I added like a rectangle. You can see I locked that layer just so I can touch it, but you know, it's like a rectangle on top of this. And so what I'll do is I'll pick a rectangle, drag it here, and then the color of this here is going to be, I don't know, maybe this. And then I'm going to have like a gradient fill. So at first it'll be like a full color, or like slightly less than full color, so you can like see through it but not too much. And then at the end it'll be the same color, but this time you can like clearly see through it. So maybe something like this, and it looks cool actually. It's not exactly the same color, but you can see it like it's clearly the same thing, or like, yeah, the same concept. So maybe I'll do it like this. All right, looks good. You could change the color, like you could go for, actually let me show you that it's actually the same principle. So if I go and replace this color with this, you see, it's like the exact same thing, same principle. And so yeah, that's how you produce a section like this. Now, this is just a headline and then some text, so I'll just drag these, I'll duplicate, and that's why Figma is like quick. As soon as you start designing a section that you like and you want to go for kind of the same vibe, the same aesthetic, then you can just drag and quickly copy and paste stuff. Now, this is a sub headline, or like a secondary headline, so I'll make this smaller. This I can make it smaller too. And so this text, I'll just copy it. I don't want to type it at all. Same thing with this one. And so let me do it like this. Should be good. And then effortless, I think it's the font that we used like here and also here. So PP editorial new. I can't remember if, yeah, it's clearly this one. Okay. And then I'm going to increase the width between lines of text. So let me do auto first and see how that looks. Doesn't look the best, so I'll increase that even more. That's decent. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you're good. Then that was enter. Like I made a mistake. I'd go for this one actually, because this looks more congruent with the rest. And this is medium, this is regular. I would just go for this one here too. So yeah, this is how you do it. Now, yeah, this is like 1-to-1. Now this section is going to be more complicated, so like follow along. This background image is just some random person sleeping, and so what I did is I didn't find it on the Aura store, like storefront, or like this is not one of their image. What I've done is I've went into like a Figma plugin, which is called Unsplash. You can see like a few of the recent plugin I've used, and Unsplash allows you to just find stock images. And so when you need something like quickly, you can just find it here. Like you have like a bunch of images. So I'm going to search someone sleeping, because the Aura ring allows you to track your sleep, and that's where I found the image. So I just clicked here, the image popped inside of my file, and then I could just use it straight away. So that's just how I've done it. Now let me actually make the image lighter, because like this is not, like this overtakes everything. Like this distracts people's attention too much. So I'll add a fill and then make it like super light. Now maybe I'll do it like this. That looks good actually. 20%. So you can still see the image, but you add some kind of like thing to tone it down. So I'll shrink that a little bit because we don't need to see all of it. And then I'm going to add another fill just to make the transition between a single color fill to an image fill like more seamless. So just let me show you. I think I'll be more straightforward. So here, I want this color to absolutely dominate. And so this is a linear gradient I'm trying to set up. So at first, I will have the exact color from the email, and then I'll have the exact color from the email but toned down. So that way, you have something that looks like this. At first, it's like just a standard color from the email, and then the transition into the image is like kind of seamless. So I kind of like that. I'll stick to that. And just duplicate that section on top of it right there, or like right here. So yeah, we have that. Now we need to replicate this. Now, a store like Aura, they have these assets loaded into their site, and I could very much go there and like, let me show you actually. I'll scroll down and you can see like all of their, like their website is completely custom coded. I could just click on this export thing and just straight away just copy this, like boom, rip it, and then paste it in Figma. And so I'd have it. So for me, it would be super simple to just go ahead and start using it. But I'm going to show you, because I titled this video like how to design an email. So I want to show you like, even if you can't copy stuff from their website, and usually you won't be able to copy stuff, I'm going to show you how you can just create this from scratch. And so here we go, let's get started. I'm going to add like the copy from for reference. And let's assume the only way I can get access to it is by taking a screenshot. So I'll take a screenshot, paste that here, and then copy that. So readiness, let me do it like this. I think that's the right font, right? Because that's the one they always use. Readiness. Alright, so I'm gonna make it red so you can see that it's like literally the same. And so I'm going to make it white. Then I'm going to drag this here. I'm going to say 86. Scale it up until it looks good. That looks good. Then optimal. Scale it down until it looks good. The hardest part is going to be like the circle progress bar thing, but I'm going to show you how you can do it. It's like no worries at all. Alright, optimal, and then go get him. It's just text again. Okay, I can't even read what I'm typing. Okay, that's better. Alright, perfect. That's the exact same text all the time, always. And now we're going to do the progress bar. And for the progress bar, it's going to be a bit counterintuitive, but we're going to get like a circle. So right here we have a circle. I'm just going to make it so, let's tone the opacity down so we can actually see what we're doing. So I'm trying to match the size of the circle with the size of the progress bar. And here we go. So now this circle thing, you're going to just make it like this. You know, you can just adjust the settings, the angle, and after that you can basically make it look like a progress bar. And so now it actually looks like what we're trying to do. And this is 86%. So right here, we're going to put 86, but I think you need to divide that by 2. So 86 over 2. And you can do the math inside of, like, this one's pretty simple. It's like 86 over 2 is 43, but sometimes it will be more complicated, and just know that you can do the math within the text field right there. So right there. And then I'm going to scale it a little bit. Looks great. Alright, so now I'm going to make the color white and maybe make that thing a little slimmer. Right, here we go. That looks great. Now I'm going to duplicate that to make the gray thing right underneath. And so color is going to be gray this time and all the way here. So now I'm going to use the layer thing, because now we have both a gray one and a white one. Let me show you. Okay, no, I made a mistake. We had a white one. I'm going to duplicate it. So now you have like you have two, right? Let me go back. And now that you have two, you can pick one and make it gray. This is going to be your background, and you're going to put it right underneath the white one that you created. So you have the white one, going over the gray one, which is like exactly what we wanted. And so now you can delete the picture and you have something that looks exactly like them, right? So I'm just going to center everything. All right, so that looks better. And then we just need to create basically the area that is like, let me show you. Let me scroll up. I'm trying to show you this effect because it's really cool. I like it. You see, it's like a glass thing. You can see through it. It's a shame. Like, check out the bed frame. You can see like this effect right behind it, like behind the glass thing. And so we're going to replicate that. For that, you just need, and you can see I've done it here. Look at her ear. Let me tone this down. See, you can see through it. It's pretty cool. So to replicate that, you just drag a rectangle. So click on R and then drag a rectangle and then pick whatever color you want. So for me, I'm going to pick the color that we used all throughout this email and create a box to get around, like just to be like this, right? So this is going to be the box. And then I'm going to round the corner. This is just a step I want to do because I think it looks on brand for them. And I think theirs had like corner radius, right? Yeah, theirs definitely had. So here we go until it looks good. I think that looks good. And now I'm going to group everything together. And grouping stuff is yet another advanced feature that I was referring to earlier. It means that because what I could do is like pick this and just drag it individually, or I could just select this entire thing all of the time, always, and then drag it. But with a group, I'll just hit this, Control G, and now every time that I'm just going to single click on anything in that area, it's going to select the entire thing, and then I'll be able to drag it, right? So that's why I use group, because you want to be able to just do that, right? This element looks almost like an entire block. You want to be able to reuse it and just drag everything together. Now, I've just noticed this is not inside of the frame. And the way I noticed that is when I drag this and I try to, like, you can see it's like already the top section in the frame. There's no element that is layered on top of it, but still this one is showing up on top. And so it means it's outside of the frame. So to get it inside of the frame, I just need to drag it out, drag it in again, and then I'll center it, and then put it behind the layer that we want, right? So now I'm going to center this, and I'm going to create the glass effect that we want to create, right? So here, I will drag the opacity down. So this is already starting to just look like the way we want. And then I'm going to add some background blur this time. And so maybe I should lower the opacity so you can see. So anytime that I ramp up the background blur, you can see like you have that effect. You can see that basically you can still see her, but it adds this cool effect. So yeah, that's how you do it. Now I'm going to ramp that up because I think it looks better the more we do it. Don't overdo it, but yeah, 16 is a pretty good number. And then, oh, I forgot to duplicate the crown. But yeah, the crown, I'll copy it from here, but essentially just, if you want a crown, just do this. You can create it in Figma, but crown SVG. And here you go. I'd copy this one and it would just do the job. Download SVG. Add it here. There you go. Perfect. Just make sure it's centered and then you're good. Perfect. Right? And so yeah, that's it. Now I'm going to scale that down because I think it looks too big. You see, as soon as I scale it down, I realized like the crown is not inside of the group. So I need to pick the crown, put it inside of the group, and then as soon as I'll hit this, it will scale down like everything. So scale down everything. All right. So now what I'll do is I'll do an auto layout. Actually, I'll duplicate that a few times. So duplicate it once, duplicate it twice, and so this will be my new auto layout. And so I'll adjust the size between each element, and then I'll pick the entire auto layout. So this element, and this element together, and then I'll center the entire thing. And so I'll be in a position where I have like three blocks right there. I think that looks perfect. Pretty similar to what we've built right there, except like for the scale maybe. But besides that is it. So yeah, now we have like a section that looks extremely good in my opinion. What can we do to optimize it? Maybe this looks better. Yeah, I'm kind of happier with that. So here we go. And then for the rest, it's just a matter of like using what we've already learned. So I'm just going to just go through it really quickly, because at this point you should basically be familiar with all of what we've created. So I'm going to go pretty quickly, and this should be like just a reminder for you, right? So the text, I'm going to copy it and paste it. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to paste it here, just so I have the other font. And I'm just going to click on option to maintain the fact that the text is at the center, like it's centered. If I don't, right, I'm just going to have to do an extra manipulation, right? I'm going to do this and then hit this. You know, it's just 2 steps. Then the text, I'm going to duplicate it right there, and then I'm going to copy the actual words and do this. Now for the button, I can do this button, and what's right underneath, what I'll do is I'll do this. I'll delete the Trustpilot icons, but I'll keep the auto layout. So copy this, paste it here, but instead of having a Trustpilot thing inside of the auto layout, what I'll do is I'll put these lines inside of the auto layout. You'll see it's pretty cool. And I mean, you can, it's not like you can clearly see what I'm trying to do, but yeah, this line, I'm going to put it inside of the auto layout. So right there. And I'm going to duplicate it so the text is in the middle of the 2 lines, vector 1 and vector 2. Here you go. And now I'm just going to adjust the auto layout so it's like this, right? So yeah, this is what I was trying to do. Center it. All right, that's what we were trying to do with this section. I did the bottom before I did the connection, right, the bridge. But yeah, let's move on to doing these 3 blocks right there. So these are just, one is going to be a rectangle, so that's going to be 1. The color is just going to be this. I'm going to adjust the corner radius. Maybe slightly less. That looks good. Then for the stroke, you know, this looks good, but I maybe want to do a gradient. Maybe the gradient is going to be like this color, and then underneath, yeah, let's just duplicate that color and then put less opacity. This is good, I like it. And I'm going to do the first thing and then duplicate it like twice. 1 for the second one, and then second time for the third one. So the text block, I don't need to show you how to do a text block again. You probably know how to do it at this point. But now, check this out. The text appears below the rectangle in our layering panel. So I'm just going to find the text, it's right there. And so I'm going to drag it all the way to the top of the frame. I can either do that like manually, and I'll show you how it's done. Sometimes it can be a bit long, and that's why we have like a shortcut for that. But you can do it manually, and that's what it does. But if you don't want to do it manually, you just press this key, watch the screen, this one, and boom, it appears on top. And yeah, I use it pretty regularly, it's great. So now for the title, this is just going to be sleep, and I'm going to make it bold. So here we go. And then as far as like the background, I'm going to do it like this. So it's going to be gradient, turn it around, make it white. The other is going to be white too, but this time not fully, and I'm going to increase the corner radius to the maximum. That's how I've done it, I'm pretty sure. Here you go. All right, and so this, I'm just also going to add a stroke to it, so maybe the same one. I don't know how it's going to look now, but yeah, I'm just going to do it like this. Actually, 0.4 might be good, or 0.6, just so it's not too big. This looks good. This looks good. And so I'm going to group these two, the headline, so sleep, and then the rectangle, just so when I try to move one, the other follows along with it. And so this looks good. And so now it's just a matter of like duplicating that twice and doing the other one, like replacing the text, essentially plug and play. And I'm just going to select everything. I could group it, actually I will, and then do this 1, 2, and then sometimes what you're going to do is like as you duplicate it, the spacing between elements will get messed up, and so just select all three, make sure they're like centered horizontally, and then you can tidy up, like press on this thing, and then it will adjust the spacing between every element. It will make it even, essentially, and then you can just control how much space you add between elements right there, like pixel by pixel. And this is great, I like it. So now you just, plug and play the text. I'm not going to do that. You know how to do it, like it's just text. So here we go. You just plug and play the text. And so we're done with the email design. Quick note though, very important for you. You need to optimize it for conversion, because the whole point of doing this email is to actually make money. And so one important step we need is just to make sure it's like optimized for conversion. This is just one point of my checklist. I have an entire guide on how to make $1 million from email marketing. Like it's an entire guide. If you're an e-commerce brand owner, definitely check it out. It's going to be in the description. But toward the end, I mentioned how you can optimize your email designs for conversion. And it is, let me see this point. Yeah, it's this point in particular. And so you got to remember, when people open your email, you got to remember they don't see all of it. So you might put all of your, like a bunch of your attention toward this part of your email. It might look amazing, but a lot of people will not get a chance to see it, right? You're going to remember, like this is what people see when they first open your email. This is on mobile and this is on desktop. So it's not because people open your email that they will actually consume the whole thing. Most people actually will just get to see this, and very little people will get to the bottom of your email. So this section has to be dialed in, and this is why I created this, right? You can see this section in green is called the above the fold section, and this is the only thing people will be able to see when they open your email. So this section has to catch their attention and incentivize them to click, like somehow. And the best way I found to do that is to add the call to action and make it visible in the above the fold section. So in the part of the email that is highlighted in green right there. And I have the dimensions. So above the fold, meaning the port in green right there, is the port in green right here. And so when I do my design and I try to optimize it for conversion, like always, my only goal is cash, really. I stack my guide into the email, and then I'll lower the opacity, and I just make sure that my call to action is present. And if you check, again, my email guide, I'm going to put the link to it in the description, but I have a checklist, especially if you're running a discount, on how you can optimize your email for conversion. This is a quick one. Your offer is mentioned in your headline, so just make it sure it's big, bright, and bold. And point number 3 is making sure your hero section is like optimized for conversion. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into making $1 million, and that's why this document is long. Again, get it in the description. But yeah, just optimize, just make sure your call to action is like in the hero section, and that should actually help your email tremendously. Now, my button, right, is in the green area, and so if I try to preview it right there, as you can see, I'll let it load and you'll be able to like preview it from a phone screen and from a desktop screen. My call to action is in the hero section, and when I open it, whether it be on mobile or desktop, I can just click on whatever I want straight away, and it is not hidden. Like, I don't make it hard for people to click. And so this is a very important point. All right, so hopefully this got you to a point where you feel more comfortable with your design skills. If you feel like you're a great designer and you could actually apply all of these skills that I've just shown you correctly, then definitely apply for a job as a designer. I'll personally review your application because right now we're crushing it for clients. Like, you will work for a great company. I'll paste a few of our email results on the screen. These are all e-commerce brands that hire me and my team to basically do their emails completely done for them. So we write the email script for them, we do the design, and hopefully you can join the team and do some of the design with us. But yeah, we're crushing it for clients, doing millions of dollars, just crushing it. And yeah, so you just have to apply. I'll review your application and hire you if it's a good fit. Now, if you are an e-commerce guy watching this, you can also click the link to work with me, and we'll do your email completely done for you. Again, the results you've just seen are from clients, like we're managing their account, doing their email completely done for them. And yeah, if you come in, we'll do the same for you and make millions of dollars for you too. The next video that's popping up on the screen right now will show you how you can get this email design that we've just done together imported inside of Klaviyo so you can actually start sending it to your list.